So grab your Martha Stewart ruler, and we're going to find the center. If you don't have a Martha Stewart ruler, the page is 6 1/4, so I imagine the center will be about 3 1/8. But I'm just going to use this real quick and make a mark in that center. Okay, then I'm going to take my ruler and place it on that mark, and I want to go from this center mark to this bottom right hand corner. And we're going to draw a line, and then same thing on this side. I'm going to go from this center mark to this bottom left hand corner. Alright, now I'm going to get a cutting pad and a knife. And we are going to cut that triangle out. So I'm going to go from this center point to that corner, following that line we just made, and cut that section out. And the same also on this side. And then you should have a piece that looks like this. Okay, for this center part, the white there, I used the Martha Stewart punch. I use this design here, but use whatever punch that you have. So I'm going to cut out of some strips out of the leftover pieces that we had when we were cutting earlier. Sorry, I hope I'm not putting my head in the way. I'm trying to see this end over here. Now I don't want the whole section, so what I'm going to do is take my cutter and I am going to cut straight down through the center of these little flowers right here, all the way down. Because this one, it's a little bit too large for what we're about to do. So there we are. So now I have a smaller section. Okay. So now we want to put this in each direction. It's going to glue down. So I'm going to set it to where I think it looks best. And I've got a little gap down here. I've got a little gap down here, so I'm just going to trim this bottom corner like so. See if it'll lay down better. Yes, it will. And then I'm going to take my pencil and trace this top edge. Sorry, I'm left-handed. Let me try it this way. And then I'm just going to cut that off. Yes, I believe that'll work out just fine. Cut off my pencil mark there. Now I'm just going to take this little scrap and put it behind here, because when we glue this down, I don't want the glue accidentally coming off to the back of our little envelope. Okay. I put the glue on the wrong side. Let me try that again. See if maybe it'll fit on this end. Yeah, I'll set that one aside. We'll do it on that end. Sorry. My music got a little bit loud and that threw my brain off for a little bit. There we go. Alright, so let's get our other piece and see if it'll work. Since I put my glue on the wrong side of it. Yeah, trace this corner here. Cut that out. Alright, I'm put my little scrap back in here so I won't get glue on my envelope. Last thing we need is an envelope that's glued shut. Make sure I glue the correct side this time. So just put that down back in place. Can't see my corner. There we are. Now we're going to take my other piece. It was like this, right? Yeah. Put my scraps so I don't glue my envelope shut. Like that. Oh, edge piece kind of went over a little bit, so I'm going to trim that. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and glue these flaps down, this side and this side. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in this center part too. There. Now we have our little envelope. Okay. Wrong way, Michelle. Alright, so we're going to set that aside for now. Grab our back page, like so. And we're going to start with our, or is it 6 1/4 by 8 1/2 that we scored in half. And we're going to start with putting our envelope that we just made. We want to put it in this inside flap. And then it's going to fold up like so, and then we'll put another purple on back here. So it looks like, yeah, I need to trim the top of mine. I want about a 1/16 of an inch where you can see the white on the bottom, and mine is a little bit too tall. It's not wanting to close, so I'm just going to grab and cut off an end there. Just barely in. See, I just barely cut it off. We'll see if that fits. Yes, that works much better. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down to this bottom piece. That's going to work just fine. Okay, so we are going to find our placement for this one. All right. Let's do this. We're going to place it 2 inches. We're going to place it 2 inches from the left. It looks like it's going to actually, from on this right side, it's going to be 1 7/8. And then also 2 inches from the top. So I'm just going to put a little mark on my paper, and that way I know when I put it back down, that's where I need to be. So you have it open, top, bottom. I want to put the glue on this side. So your flat flannel purple design, we're putting the glue on the back of there. And I'm just going to line it up where I put those two marks. If you want to, you can go ahead and recheck it before your glue dries. There's stuff on my desk. I can't get my ruler down. And I am good. And if your little pencil mark shows, you can just erase it. Okay, on our next flap, I'm going to go ahead and cut the edges of the, well, I missed it. So I cut it at an angle, and this flap is actually going to go from the I'm going to place it 1 inch below this bottom edge here, the one that we just put down, and then this is going to open down like this. So 1 inch down, and then I've got it 2.5 inches from this corner to here is 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to trace the bottom part here. And that's where that one's going to go. So then we take our cutting board again, and we're going to get our X-Acto knife, and we are going to cut that line that we just made. And this is going to slide into that cut. Make sure I have mine wide enough. Mine fits just perfectly. So I'm going to take my eraser and erase that line we just made so you can't see it. Okay, on this one we are going to have a ribbon, and the ribbon is going to insert here and then go up and tie and keep all these flaps down. So go ahead and grab, I'm just using Tim Holtz crinkle ribbon. Actually, I have a pack, excuse me, I have a pack up here that's already open. So we're going to grab a section of it. Let's see how long we want it. Let's do 10 inches. Whoops. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one end and I'm going to glue it to the bottom of this flap. And that way when we put it inside here, it'll look like the ribbon is just coming out of from the paper. So I'm just going to grab some glue. Put it on there. And take an edge and push that down. Then I'm going to take it and insert the flap. Now flip your page over and we're going to glue the flap down. Alright. Now later we will do another piece coming down from the top. Okay, now for our next flap, this one is going to be located on the side over here. Tap my glue here. It's going to fold out to the left. Then we're going to also have one on this side that's going to fold out to the right. And this is what's going to keep it all in together. So let's see how we're going to measure this one. Okay, I am measuring 1/2 inch from the edge of the cardstock to the edge of the flap, and we're going to do 1/2 inch and then also a 1/2 inch from the top of your page, your cardstock, to the top of the flap. So make sure I have it straight. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Take your pencil and we're going to draw that line. There we are. Now when these are so close, well, I can't see my line. Too many crickets, I gotta do it again. I didn't have any lead in my pencil. Alright, let me try that again. 1/2 inch from the top. There we go, I got it that time. So now I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and ruler and cut that out. Now I'm going to cut the edges. on the diagonal. Looks like I did mine so good I got pencil in my... Let me erase that out real quick. And also erase this one. Let's see how well we did. I'm just batting 0. I didn't cut through the paper. I can still see my lines, so... Well, I hope yours worked out better than mine did. Like I said, Maja Design is some thick paper. Let's test it out. There we are. I'm going to flip it over and glue it down. Now we have another one to do. So we're going to take our next one. I'm going to go ahead and cut my edges real quick. Taper them. Let's see. Alright, this one we are going to do a 1/2 inch again. 1/2 inch from the edge of a paper to our flap. And then we're going to do a 1/2 inch from this bottom fold of the one that we put previously to there. 1/2 inch. Check over here so I can make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to trace that line. There we are. And cut that out. All right. Let's see how it fits. Good, that's going to work. I'm going to flip it over and glue that down. Some more to put this part away. Now we need to cut some more of our purple, or what I'm using for purple, for our inside. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you remember, those were 4 by 6. I'm sorry, 4 1/4. No, they were 4 by 6. Oh, let's see. Yes, 4 by 6. So that's 1. 2. 3. 4. And then I'm going to use my crocodile punch. Let's do 2 at a time. On that deco edge. And we're going to start gluing these down. And 1 more. Alright, now we have all of our flaps finished. So we need to put our ribbon coming from the top, and I don't want to just put a plain ribbon. We're going to jazz it up a little bit. I have the Maja design. This is Enjoying Outdoors Garden Creatures, and it has lots of pretty butterflies on it. So I'm going to do 1.5 inch wide by 1.5 inch. So 1.5 by 1.5. Then we're going to take some of our scrap cardstock and go ahead and tape that down. Glue it down. I'm going to glue it at the bottom because I want a flap here at the top. So I'm just going to glue this down. Then I made it to where I have a 1/16 of an inch here, down here, so I'm going to cut on the white paper 1/16 of an inch, just guesstimating it. Now we're going to take our scoreboard and I'm going to score about a 1/16 of an inch up from the card stock. There we are. Fold that back, and then I'm just going to cut some of this back part away. And it gives us a little flap. Now I'm going to take my crocodile and we're going to put a little eyelet there in the center, and that's what we're going to run our ribbon through. And I'm going to just use like a bronze color. I can see that. Alright. So first I'm going to make the hole, and I'm using the larger size. I'm just going to eyeball it, kind of center it through there. Place the eyelet. And squeeze it. Well, this never happened before. Stuck to it. Alright. That has never happened before. Okay. Well, I ended up having to do mine all over again. It wouldn't come off, and I ended up tearing the paper. So I got me another one here. And I've got my eyelet. Everything's set and ready to go. So I'm just going to pull this forward to find my placement. We're going to put our little flab back underneath the page. And I want the eyelet to line up about center of where this ribbon runs across it. Let me flip it over, and then I'm going to just try and hold that in place and glue that down. And just in case something moved in the process, we're going to flip it over and check it again. Yes. Alright, now we're going to take about another 8 inches of thread. Actually, let's make it a little bit, no, 8 inches. Let's do 8 inches. That is a little bit smaller than the other one. And we're going to run it through. And then we're just going to tie a knot. And I want this back ribbon kind of to be on the back end of it. Yeah, I made mine a little bit too short. Let me adjust this. I'm not liking that. I think the top one is too short. Let's redo that and go with a longer piece. We'll set it aside and use it later maybe. Let's go ahead and go with a 11 inches. See how that works. Let's do this. We're going to adhere it down with glue and not make a knot, and that'll give us some more on the end to tie it. So I'm just going to take my glue adhere that ribbon down. Then we're going to take another little piece and I'm going to go ahead and mark it so I've got 1/16 of an inch from the top so that white shows. Whoa, hello. And then I'm going to mark it 16 from the fold. We're going to cut that. Cut on our mark. And we're going to glue this in place and it'll cover all that up for us. Some extra glue on the ribbon. All right. Now we can tie well. just an FYI, I cannot stand tying bows. I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed or or whatever, but yeah, bows are my nemesis. I don't like them. I don't even tie my shoes. I buy shoes without ties, or I just tie them and then I slide them on and off. Okay, so our next part is we are going to fill up the bottom with some embellishments. We're going to do some flowers and some lace, and I'm going to go ahead and look through and see what I have, and you look through your stash and you find what colors that match your background and your album design, and then we will meet back together and I'll show y'all what I came up with. Alright, I have mine set out in a design that I think I'm going to go with. I have some flowers. Most of these I've gotten from Hobby Lobby. They have the Paper Studio Poppies and Papery. And this one went with this flower set here. And then I also have these. And I'll put the little part numbers that are on it in the materials list. Then I also have some Prima flowers, which you saw that I used on the cover. These are Flores de Prima. I had a couple of packs of those. And I had the Recollections, the little tiny white roses. And the only other ones, I have some I Am Roses. I've got the little rose petals, white. And then I have these little guys here, which I've had these for so many years. I don't remember what these are called. Then I have some kind of a yellowish rose. And then the little baby's breath, I think I've already shown you. And then I have some ribbon. You could pick it up anywhere. I believe I got this at Michael's. So I went ahead and I've already put, well, other than the butterfly, this I got, it's the Tim Holtz ornaments, butterflies, and I chose this one. I think these are new. This first time I saw them in Hobby Lobby was just today. And we're going to put that little guy right there in a little bit. So this came with this pack right here. There were 3 of them. So I used one here. And let me zoom in a little bit so you can watch what I'm doing. Alright, so I took 2 of the little white buds and wrapped them around, one on each side. And I'm going to try my best to show y'all everything that I used, and I'm trying to get things that you could find in Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I know that I Am Roses you won't be able to find there. Okay, we're going to start by gluing the little leaf here that came with this pack. They had a lot of beautiful colors. I'm not too fond of this gold right here. Maybe later on I might, if I could think of something, I might put some paint on it. So we're going to start with gluing this one in place. Whoops. There we are. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in my ribbon. Now I started with tucking it underneath the larger flower, and then I just twisted it and curled it. So we're going to start with doing that. Of course, I'm going to show y'all what I did, but y'all work with yours, use what you have. And then I just twisted it, little pops of glue where I wanted it to land. Just twisting it around as I went. Little blue strings everywhere. Alright, then I'm going to take this and tuck it in underneath that ribbon. We're going to put it in like so. And I'm going to take my little pink, tuck it with that ribbon coming around the top of it. Need to move it a little bit more, that green stem is showing. Then I'm going to take this little guy, oh, got too much glue. It's going to go in the top here. We're going to wrap this one, kind of tuck it in that little bend in the ribbon there. And then start adding our little baby's breath. And we're going to add a little rose. I like things symmetrical. That's just how I am. You know, this one is the same as this side. It looks like I didn't get it exactly the same because, well, yeah, let's stick this one in there. Yeah, the little guy's going to go right there. And why my flowers are little guys, I have no idea. There we are. And there, it just kind of flows across the bottom. And I try not to have too much color, too much of one color. I know I have a lot of the white, and that's why I added the little yellow in there to kind of counteract all of the white. Let's go ahead and we're going to tuck our little flower right there. Let me get my E6000 again. Man, this thing's always hard to open. And drop them. I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue in the center. A piece of string to hold it in place while that glue dries. And we're just going to tuck them right there. Alright, I believe our first page is done. So let's move all of this out of the way. Zoom back out. Got some of that E6000. We don't want anything sticking to my... I put parchment paper down when I'm working, and then I can write on it, make little notes. You can see I got some little notes down here, and then whenever I finish a project, I just pick it up. And well, it's not parchment, it's wax paper that you get in the Walmart section with the trash bags and everything, or it's wax paper or parchment paper. And I use the paper side and when I'm doing something like this, and I can make notes and write on it. But when I'm painting, I flip it over and I use the plastic side of it, and things don't stick to it so much. Alright, so we are ready to put this one in place. So I'm going to use a combination of double-sided tape. Now when we made our cuts in our paper, make sure that on the edge of those cuts that you put, if you're using glue, put a lot of glue on those ends, so by chance that they don't continue to tear. And then also make sure that you get a good bit of glue or double-sided tape on the opposite end that flips up, the opposite end of the cut, so it adheres down really well. So I'm going to make sure I put some double-sided tape on the corners and get that down. I guess I should have put this down before I put my flowers on it, because now it's like bendy everywhere. Alright, I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac, which I just put mine up. I forgot I needed it again. We just need it on the front and back covers. That didn't work out well now, did it? I'll make sure I put a good amount of glue on there. Alright. I'm going to put it around all the four corners because we are adhering these edges to that fabric. Putting double over here where that page is cut. Then for the inside, I'm just going to use regular glue. Alright, I'm going to flip him over and put him down in place. Just press and make sure you have good adhesion. On those ends. And what I'm going to do, when we first started and cut all our chipboard, I have all these little sections here. So I'm going to grab all of my binder clips. And what it does is it'll hold that in place to dry, but it keeps from this little guy from making an indentation in the front of your fabric. So I'm going to go through and just add a bunch of them. You can see what I'm doing there? There you go. One on this side too. And one more at the bottom. Always helps to have a lot of binder clips. If you don't have any binder clips, just go ahead and keep pushing it with your hands. Like, of course, I can't get a binder clip here, so I'm going to keep pushing down on there with my hands. Let's open this up. sure and get that all. Alright, I'm going to let this sit for a little while and clear off all the flowers and stuff from my desk, and then we will go ahead and start on our first page. Alright, the more I looked at this, that gold inside this purple flower was bothering me. So I had these I Am Roses like this, and I cut it off the stem, and I took that gold pearl out of the center, and then I just glued that down. And then I also added, if you could see, a darker purple. Let me get that for you and I'll show you. They come from Michaels. So this is, well, that glare is not going to help you any of it. Here you are. It's just different shades of purple, and each one of them has a little pearl in the center of them. And those are from Michaels. So let's go ahead and start on our next page. So I have another Maja Designs. This one is Vintage Summer Basics 1911. And I'm going to use this little flowered side here. So I'm going to set this side. Hopefully I won't decide to change anything else in the meantime. Okay, we are going to cut it down 9 7/8 by 9 7/8. So if you remember, our inside pages are 10 by 10. So we're just going in barely enough that just our fabric edges show. So we're going to start here, and then I'm going to try it and see how it looks. So 9 7/8 by 9 7/8. Alright, let's test it out. And it should just fit to where your fabric is showing only around the edges. See if you can see that up close. See how just my fabric is showing? There, it's a good shot right there. Okay, so that's a good fit. We need to grab our purple and white cardstock. Start mine with the purple. And we need 4 each that are 4 by 6. I do have my cat in here with me, so if y'all hear some strange noises in the background, that is where it is from. Alright, we need one more. And then for your corners, we're going to do our crocodile punch in the deco. So I'm going to do 2 at a time. Okay, now our white, we want to go 4 1/4 wide by 6 1/4. I'm sorry, 6 1/2. 4 1/4 by 6 1/2. And we also need 4 of those. And one more. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and do our punch just on one side. So I'm going to do 2 at a time again. Okay, so we're going to take one and grab turn my music down again. Sorry if they got too loud for y'all. I don't like silence. My TV stays on. I leave it on for I leave it on for my animals during the day. Yeah, I don't like the quiet. So we're going to place all 4 of these. And if you could tell, I'm placing it, I should have said this, I'm placing it all to one edge, and we're going to score on this side, and that's going to be our flap. And one more. Alright, now we want to grab our scoreboard. I've got it on the 6 1/2 inch side this way, and then I'm going to score at 6 1/8. So that's that first little mark behind this after the 6. So that leaves us about 1/4 of an inch tab. That is a little bitty tab, isn't it? Okay. Now on this page, we are going to line up our flaps. Let me fold it back this way. So it's going to look similar to kind of like a staggered or a waterfall effect. They are all going to open over to the left. So we're going to stagger them in. Of course, I'll give y'all measurements. I just want to show y'all what I'm trying to get at here. So it's going to be this effect. And then each one is flipping to the left. So let's start with, grab my ruler. Let's go 1/2 inch from this edge of your cardstock and 1/2 inch from the top. So 1/2 inch, make sure it's even, make sure you measure your 1/2 inch at the bottom. And take your pencil and make another line. Trace that edge. And then we're going to cut that one out. Okay, I'm going to take my scissors and taper the edge of my flap. We're going to just test it to see if it fits. It still looks a little crooked there. Yeah, I did get off a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it. Erase my pencil line. I'm going to go ahead and put that one back through and flip it over and glue it down. Okay, moving to our next one. Let's see how we want to line this one up. Okay, let's do, let me come in a little bit so y'all can see this better. Okay, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch from this corner, and I put it at 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to put it at 1/2 inch from the bottom of this flap. So we're going to push that up. All right. Whoops, I moved mine. So we're going to flip that open, grab our pencil, trace that edge, grab our knife and our ruler and cut that part out. Let me check the back, make sure I got over enough from... Okay, I just want to make sure we didn't hit that white one. Okay, erase our line. Oh, got to cut my corners. Mine fits okay. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and glue that one down. We're going to keep going down a 1/2 inch for all the remaining two. So grab our next one. And I'm going to go a 1/2 inch from this corner of our second flap over, and then a 1/2 inch down. Let's see. Trace that one out. Grab your ruler and your knife and cut it. I'm going to taper the corners of our flap. Erase that pencil mark. And we'll see if we fit. And mine fits just fine, so I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and glue that one down. One more to go. so we want a 1/2 inch from the bottom flap, 1/2 inch down, and then from the corner over to the right. Oh, I didn't see. Let me check it again. All right. Let's cut that out. Erase our pencil mark. Cut our tabs and see if this one fits. There we go. Flip it over and glue it down.